I'm standing at my wife's funeral right now. Then I see her. Row 7. A woman in a black dress and sunglasses. She stands up, walks down the aisle toward the back exit. As she passes my pew, she leans close, whispers in my ear, "Run, you only have 30 days." I turn to look at her face. It's Susan, my wife, the woman whose casket is 15 feet in front of me. She keeps walking, out the door, gone. My 3 children, Brett, Melissa, Derek, are holding my hands, crying. They haven't called me in 12 years, until 3 weeks ago. Something changed 3 weeks ago. Brett started calling. "Hey, Dad, just checking in." Melissa showed up with dinner. "Thought you could use company." Derek moved into my guest room. "I want to spend more time with you." And then 8 days ago, Susan collapsed. Dr. Hayes pronounced her dead. Stroke. She was 59 years old. The funeral happened fast. Too fast. Brett arranged everything. Melissa handled the program. Derek stayed by my side every moment. They were so attentive, so caring. For the first time in years, I felt like I had my children back. If you're listening from Boston, comment below. Anywhere else? Tell me your city. Hit subscribe, because what happened to me could be happening to someone you know right now. I don't move, don't react, just sit there, holding my children's buns. Melissa squeezes my hand. "We're here for you, Dad." Her palm is dry, steady, not crying anymore. Brett leans over, whispers, "We should talk about estate planning, soon." Derek nods. "We'll take care of everything." And I think they're right. They will take care of me, in exactly the way you'd expect. Because the woman who just whispered in my ear, the woman who's supposed to be dead, she knows something I don't. And I have 30 days to figure out why my children, who disappeared for 12 years, suddenly care so much about their grieving father. Let me tell you how I got here. 12 years ago, I met Susan in a bookstore near Harvard Square. She was reading The Guns of August. I said, "I teach that book." She looked up, smiled, said, "So explain to me how World War I started because of it. A single bullet?" We talked for 3 hours. The cafe closed. We didn't notice. My first marriage had ended 18 years before that. Patricia and I married because we had to. She was pregnant at 22. I was 24. We tried. God, we tried. But trying isn't the same as working. 3 kids later, she said, "You love history more than you love us." Maybe she was right. We divorced when Brett was 19. The kids chose her. I didn't fight it. Figured they needed their mother more than they needed their father. I paid child support, paid for college, showed up for graduations, but I wasn't there. Not really. Susan was different. Susan was the second chance I didn't think I deserved. We married 6 months after that bookstore conversation. Small ceremony. My kids didn't come. Said they had plans. That was 12 years ago. 3 years ago, my father died. Daniel Cooper, 85 years old, real estate developer, built half the commercial properties in the Newton area, left me $8.2 million. I didn't want it. I'd spent my whole career teaching kids that history matters more than money. That character matters more than capital. Dad used to laugh at that. Said, "Nathan, you're a good man. Too good. The world eats good men." Maybe he was trying to warn me. His will was read at Walsh & Partners, 102 State Street. My father's attorney, Gregory Walsh, had been his friend for 40 years. Gregory looked at me across that mahogany desk and said, "Your father left everything to you, Nathan. The house, the rental properties, the stocks. But there's a clause." "What clause?" "If Susan dies before age 60, the estate passes to your children equally. Daniel's grandchildren. It's called a 30-day survival clause." I remember frowning. "Susan's 47. Why would—" "Your father was thorough," Gregory said. "Estate planning isn't about keeping money. It's about keeping control." I signed the papers. Didn't think about that clause again until today. Susan turned 59 on June 8th, last year. This year, June 8th is 28 days away. She died on May 11th. 59 years, 11 months old. You see it now, don't you, my 3 children? Brett works in real estate, supposed to work in real estate. In 2 years, he sold 3 houses, lost money on all of them, owes $435,000 to hard money lenders, Atlas Capital Lending, 18% interest. His wife Amanda threatens to leave him every other week. Melissa works in HR at an insurance company, divorced 2 years ago. 2 kids, Emma, 8 years old, and Noah, 6. Her ex-husband took 60% of their assets, $380,000. She lives in an apartment in Quincy that's too small, works 60 hours a week, and when she looks at me, I see something in her eyes I don't want to name. Derek, my youngest, the entrepreneur, hasn't held a job in 3 years, gambling addict, owes $290,000, casinos, loan sharks, the kind of people who don't take payment plans. They've been calling me, all 3 of them, more in the last 6 months than in the previous 6 years combined. Hey, Dad, just checking in. Dad, maybe we should grab lunch? Dad, I've been thinking about family, about time, about how we should spend more time together. I thought they were changing, growing up, learning that money doesn't matter, relationships matter. Susan tried to tell me. 2 months ago, she said, Nathan, something's wrong. What do you mean? Derek was here yesterday. He asked if we'd updated our will. Then he walked around the house, like he was measuring. I laughed, said, he's probably worried about us. We're getting older. She didn't laugh back, just looked at me with those gray-blue eyes and said, if I die, promise me you'll trust Gregory. Nobody else, just Gregory. I said, you're not going to die. She said, promise me anyway. I promised. 2 weeks ago, Susan mentioned she had some kind of rare blood disorder, something about her white blood cell count. Dr. Richard Hayes, our family doctor for 15 years, prescribed medication. Vitamin B12, he said. Take one every morning. She took them for 10 days. Then Monday morning, May 11th, 6:52 a.m., I heard a crash in the kitchen. Susan was on the floor, unconscious. I called 911, screamed into the phone, started CPR, but I'm a history teacher, not a doctor. My hands were shaking. I couldn't remember if it was 30 compressions or 15. I just kept pushing on her chest, saying, stay with me, stay, Dr. Vopoit. Hayes arrived at 7:10 a.m. Before the ambulance, he checked her pulse, checked her pupils. At 7:35, he said, Nathan, I'm sorry, she's gone. Ischemic stroke, that's what the death certificate said. Signed by Dr. Richard Hayes. Brett showed up at 8 a.m. I hadn't called him. Melissa arrived 5 minutes later. Derek was already there. He'd spent the night. Said he wanted to hang out with Dad. But here's what I remember. When Brett walked in, he didn't look surprised. He looked relieved. The funeral arrangements happened fast. Too fast. Brett took charge, said, Dad, you're grieving. Let me handle this. He chose the casket, picked the church, scheduled everything for 3 days later. I nodded, said thank you. I wasn't thinking clearly. When someone you love dies, the world becomes static. Everything sounds like it's underwater. Melissa brought food, sat with me, held my hand, said, Mom loved you so much, Dad. She'd want you to be okay. Derek moved in, Tuesday night, showed up with a duffel bag and said, I'm not letting you be alone right now. Set up camp in the guest room, made coffee every morning, asked if I needed anything. They were so attentive, so caring. For the first time in years, I felt like I had my children back. Tuesday afternoon, Brett said, Dad, we should probably talk about updating your estate plan. I looked at him. What? I mean, with Mom gone, you should make sure everything's in order for us, for your grandkids. Brett, your mother just died. I know, I'm just thinking ahead. Being responsible. Melissa chimed in, Dad's right, Brett. Give him space. She turned to me. But Dad, when you're ready, we're here to help. With anything financial. You know I handle paperwork every day at work. Derek added, Yeah, Dad, we'll take care of you. You're getting older. Let us manage the complicated stuff. I'm 62, not 82. But I said, Thank you, I'll think about it. Wednesday, the funeral. Holy Cross Church, 3:15 p.m. Our address is 428 Maple Drive, Newton. The ambulance never took Susan away. Dr. Hayes pronounced her dead on scene. No hospital, no autopsy. Brett arranged for the funeral home to pick her up directly. At the funeral, I sat between Melissa and Derek. Brett sat on Melissa's other side, front row, family section. People kept coming up and saying how sorry they were. Melissa cried perfectly. Not too much. Just enough. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Something was wrong. Something about the timing, the speed, the way my children suddenly cared after 12 years of distance. And then I saw Susan. After the service, after the note, after I returned to my seat, I watched my children. Really watched them. Brett leaned over to Melissa, whispered something. She nodded. They both looked at me. Derek was on his phone, texting someone. He saw me looking, put the phone away, smiled, said, "You okay, Dad?" "Fine. We're going back to your place after this. Melissa's bringing dinner. We'll stay with you tonight. You don't have to." "We want to," Melissa said. "Family takes care of family." The church emptied. We went home. Derek drove my car, said I was too upset. Melissa made pasta. Brett opened wine. We sat in my living room, and for a moment I almost believed it, that they cared, that grief had brought us back together. Then Brett said, "Dad, have you thought any more about the estate planning?" Melissa shot him a look. "Brett, not tonight. I'm just asking. We need to know the timeline." "Timeline for what?" I asked. "For, getting things organized." Derek put his hand on my shoulder, said, "Brett's just worried. We all are. We want to make sure you're protected." "Protected from what?" They left around 10 p.m. Melissa hugged me goodbye, said, "Call if you need anything. Anything at all." She smelled like lilac, like she always did. Derek stayed, guest room, said he'd stay all week. At 10:30 I heard him on the phone. His door was closed, but sound carries in old houses. I stood in the hallway, listened. "Yeah, it went fine," Derek said. "Dad's a mess, totally out of it. No, Brett's handling the legal stuff. I know. We just need to wait." "How long?" "I don't know, man. Melissa says before June 8th, for sure. Because that's when... Look, I can't talk about this here. He might hear... Tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow." He hung up. I went back to my bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the clock. 9 p.m. came. I pulled out the burner phone note, used my cell to text the number Susan had written. "Is this really you?" 3 dots appeared, then, "Yes, don't call, don't come looking, they're watching. Wait for my next message. I love you. I'm so sorry." And then, "They're going to kill you, Nathan, in 27 days, maybe sooner." I didn't sleep Wednesday night. Derek was in the next room. I could hear him snoring, could hear the house settling, could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. The burner number, a long text. I'm going to read it to you exactly as Susan wrote it. "Nathan, I know this is insane. I know you don't believe me yet, but you saw me today. Row 7, black dress. That was real. I'm alive. Here's what happened. 6 months ago, I overheard Derek on the phone. He was in our kitchen. Thought I was upstairs. He said, 'Once the old man dies, we get millions. We just have to wait.' I froze. Listened. He said, 'No, Mom's the problem. She's almost 60. If she makes it to her birthday, the whole thing falls apart.' I didn't understand. Not then. So I started watching. Following. Melissa met with Dr. Hayes 8 times in 3 months. January 12th, 18th, 25th, February 2nd, 9th, 23rd, March 6th, 14th. I logged every date. They met at a coffee shop in Brookline. Once I got close enough to hear. Melissa said, "Can you do it without anyone knowing?" Hayes said, "Blood thinner plus potassium. Slow. Looks natural." Nathan, they were planning to kill me. Hayes prescribed vitamin B12. I had it tested. Blood thinner and potassium chloride. Enough to cause a stroke within 2 weeks. I didn't take the real pills. I switched them. Took regular vitamins. But I played along. Monday morning, I faked the collapse. Hayes came. He'd been waiting for the call. He didn't check carefully. He wanted me dead. So he signed the certificate. No hospital, no autopsy. Exactly like they planned. I had help. Dr. Evelyn Price. She's the medical examiner, and she's my best friend from college. She knows what's happening. She's protecting me. Nathan, your father's will has a clause. If I die before I turn 60, the estate goes to your kids. $8.2 million, divided equally. Brett gets $2.73 million, so does Melissa, so does Derek. My 60th birthday is June 8th, 27 days from now. They're going to kill you before then, because if I come back, the whole plan collapses. If you die before June 8th, they inherit everything. If you don't, they get nothing. Trust Gregory Walsh, nobody else. I've been working with him for 6 months. There's a plan. But you have to be smart. You have to act normal. They're watching you. Derek is living in your house. Brett's managing the estate planning. Melissa's the mastermind. She works in HR. She knows how to forge documents. I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. You wouldn't have believed your children could do this. But you believe me now, don't you? I read that text 4 times. Then I got up, walked to my study, pulled out my father's will from the filing cabinet, found page 7, clause 4. 2. In the event that Susan Marie Cooper predeceases testator's son Nathan Cooper and dies before attaining age 60, the estate shall pass to testator's grandchildren in equal shares. There it was. The footnote I'd skipped. The legal jargon I'd never read carefully. My father's voice echoed. Read the contract, Nathan, especially the footnotes. My phone buzzed again. Another text. This time an audio file. 15 seconds. I plugged in headphones. Pressed play. Melissa's voice. Clear as day. Mom's dead. 27 days until Dad. Then 8 million split 3 ways. Brett, you handle the accident. Derek, you monitor. Hayes does the paperwork. Clean. No evidence. Another voice. Brett. What about Dad's lawyer? Walsh. Melissa. He doesn't know anything yet. By the time he figures it out, it'll be done. I played it again and again. That was my daughter. The girl I raised. The girl who used to cry when I read her Charlotte's Web because the spider died. The girl who said, I want to be strong like you, Daddy. She was planning my murder like it was a quarterly budget review. At 9 a.m. Thursday, I called Gregory Walsh. Said I needed to see him. Immediately. Nathan, I heard about Susan. I'm so sorry. Gregory, I need to see you today. 8 a.m. tomorrow. Your office. Of course. Is everything... No, nothing's okay. But I'll explain tomorrow. I hung up. Derek walked into the kitchen. Said, Who was that? Insurance company. You okay? You look tired. I didn't sleep. Want me to make breakfast? No, I'm fine. He nodded, smiled, went back to his room. I waited until he was gone. Then I texted Susan. I believe you, meeting with Gregory tomorrow. What do I do until then? Her response, act normal. Grieve. Let them think you're broken. And Nathan, check your bedroom. Your study, the living room. They've been in your house for 3 days. They might have left surprises. I waited until Derek left for a coffee run. Then I searched. Found the first camera behind a picture frame in the living room. Mini spy cam, wireless, hidden inside a photo of my mother, the frame Derek had fixed for me on Tuesday. Found 3 more. Bedroom, study, kitchen, all streaming to an app on Derek's phone, Family Cam Pro. My son had been watching me, recording me, every word, every movement. I left the cameras where they were, sat down in my living room, looked directly at the one in the picture frame, and I thought, okay then, let's play. Because if they wanted to see me broken, I'd give them broken. And while they were watching, I'd build the cage that would trap them. I had 27 days, time to make every single one count. Friday morning, 8 a.m., Walsh & Partners, 102 State Street, Suite 1850. Gregory's office smells like old books and leather, floor-to-ceiling shelves, a window overlooking Boston Harbor. He's 68 years old, gray hair, wireframe glasses. My father's best friend for 40 years. He knows how to keep secrets. I sat down across from him. Didn't wait for pleasantries. Said, Susan's alive. Gregory didn't blink, just said, I know. You what? She came to me 6 months ago, told me everything. We've been preparing. I sat back. Why didn't you tell me? Because you would have confronted them, and we needed evidence. Nathan, your father taught me something. He said, own nothing, control everything. We're going to use that principle to save your life. He pulled out a folder, thick legal documents. Your father's will has the 30-day survival clause. If Susan dies before 60 and you die before June 8th, your children inherit $8.2 million. But here's what they don't understand. A will only controls assets that go through probate. Probate? The court process after death. But there's another structure. It's called a living trust. Listen carefully. We're going to create a revocable living trust. The Cooper Family Trust 2024. You'll transfer most of your assets into this trust. The house, 3 of the rental properties, your stock portfolio. Total value, $6.5 million, 79% of the estate. What does that accomplish? When you die, if you die, the trust assets don't go through probate. They're already owned by the trust. Your father's will only applies to whatever's left outside the trust. We'll leave about $1.7 million in your personal name, just enough to avoid suspicion. I processed this. So they'd only get $566,000 each after legal fees, instead of $2.7 million? Exactly. But they'll know. As soon as we file the trust, let them know. Nathan, when desperate people realize their plan is failing, they make mistakes. They get sloppy. And we need them sloppy. We need them to commit to the murder plot, so obviously that even the best defense attorney can't explain it away. I looked at him. This man had known me since I was a kid, had known my father his whole adult life. You think they'll really try to kill me? I know they will. Susan's recordings prove intent. But intent isn't enough. We need attempt, conspiracy, overt acts, and we need it all documented. How? First, we set up the trust. Today, right now. I've had these papers ready for a week. You sign. We file it at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds this afternoon. By Monday, it's public record. Your children will find out. Probably from their lawyer or from a title search if Brett's trying to do estate planning. And then they'll panic. And when they panic, they'll move faster. Make phone calls, send texts, meet in person. We'll be watching. Recording legally. I have a contact at the FBI. Elder Abuse and Financial Crimes Unit. Her name is Detective Sarah Morrison. She's been waiting for my call. My hands were shaking. This is real. This is actually happening. I'm afraid so. Gregory, those are my kids. Nathan, his voice was soft, firm. Those people stopped being your kids when they decided $8 million was worth more than your life. I signed the papers. Transferred the house at 428 Maple Drive. Rental properties at 67 Park Avenue in Brookline, 83 Elm Street in Newton, and 142 Harvard Street in Brookline. Stock portfolio through Fidelity. Account ending in 4521. Total $6.5 million into the Cooper Family Trust 2024. Filing fee $285. We drove to the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Filed at 10:30 a.m., Book 58392, page 156. Gregory said, now you go home, act normal, grieve, let Derek comfort you, let Melissa bring food, let Brett talk about estate planning. And when they ask, because they will, tell them you're thinking about it. Tell them you want to set up a new will. Tell them you want to make sure your grandchildren are taken care of. Lie to them. Survive them. I went home. Derek was there, making lunch, turkey sandwiches. He said, where'd you go? Insurance company. Had to sign some papers for Susan's life insurance. That was a lie. Susan had life insurance, $2.5 million through Metropolitan Life, but we hadn't filed a claim. Couldn't. She wasn't dead. Derek nodded. That's smart. Getting ahead of the paperwork. Yeah. How you holding up? I'm tired. You should rest. I'll handle dinner. That night, Melissa called. "Dad, how are you?" "Surviving." "Brett and I were talking. We really think you should update your estate plan. With Mom gone, it's important." "I know, I'm thinking about it." "What do you mean, thinking about it?" "I mean, I met with Gregory today. We're discussing options." Silence. Then, "Gregory Walsh. Dad, do you think that's smart? He's so old. Maybe we should find someone more current." "Gregory knew my father for 40 years. I trust him." Okay. I'm just saying we want to help. This is a big decision." "I appreciate that, Melissa." "So, what did he say? What options?" "We're still discussing. I'll let you know." Another pause, longer this time. "Okay, Dad, but don't wait too long. You never know what could happen." "I won't. I love you." "Love you too." I hung up, looked at the camera in the picture frame, smiled, because I'd just lit the fuse. And now it was a race. Could I build enough evidence before they killed me? Could we get them to confess? To incriminate themselves so thoroughly that a jury wouldn't need to deliberate? I had 26 days until Susan's birthday. 26 days to checkmate my own children. I taught history for 35 years. I knew how this worked. Wars aren't won by the strongest army. They're won by the side that makes fewer mistakes. And my kids? They were about to make a lot of mistakes. Starting tomorrow. Saturday morning, 11:20 a.m. My phone rang. Melissa. "Dad, I need to talk to you about financial planning." "Okay. Can Brett and I come over this afternoon?" "Sure." 2 p.m.? That works. I texted Gregory. Told him they were coming. He said, "Good. They know about the trust. Let them push. Don't give details. Stay vague. And Nathan, be careful. They're not just planning anymore." At 1:55 p.m., Brett's car pulled into the driveway. Melissa got out first, carrying a folder. Brett followed. They walked to the door together. Knocked. I opened it. "Hey, Dad," Melissa said. Hugged me. Held on just a little too long, like she was checking for something. Weakness. Vulnerability. We sat in the living room. Derek was out. Convenient. Brett and Melissa sat on the couch. I took the armchair. Melissa opened the folder. "Dad, we're worried about you." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You just lost Mom. You're grieving. You're alone. And frankly, Dad, you're getting older." "I'm 62. "Exactly. And we want to make sure you're taken care of. Financially. Legally." Brett leaned forward. "Dad, we heard you met with Gregory Walsh." "Who told you that?" "It doesn't matter. What matters is we're concerned. Gregory's great, but he's from Dad's generation. Things have changed. Estate planning is complicated now. We think you need newer guidance. I trust Gregory." "We know. But Dad, we're your children. We should be part of this conversation. We should know what decisions you're making." I looked at Melissa, looked at Brett, saw my father's nose, my mother's eyes, heard echoes of bedtime stories and little league games and helping with homework. And I saw something else, something colder. "What decisions do you think I'm making?" Melissa hesitated. Then, "We heard you might be setting up a trust." "Where'd you hear that?" "Dad, it doesn't matter." "Are you?" "I'm considering options." "What kind of options?" "Gregory's handling it." Brett's jaw tightened. "Dad, with all due respect, we have a right to know. This is our inheritance. Grandpa left it to you, but eventually it comes to us. That was always the plan." "Was it?" "Of course. You don't have other family. No siblings, no cousins, just us, your kids." I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the street. Spring afternoon, trees budding, someone walking a dog. "Do you need money?" I asked. Didn't turn around. Silence. "Dad, what?" Simple question. "Brett, do you need money?" I'm fine. $435,000 to Atlas Capital. 18% interest, that's fine. More silence. "How do you know that?" "I'm your father. I know things." Melissa jumped in. "Dad, we're not here to ask for money. We're here because we care about you. We want to help you manage this. You've worked hard your whole life. You deserve to retire and not worry." Let us worry for you. I turned around. By managing my estate? By helping you make smart decisions. And if I've already made decisions? Brett stood up. What does that mean? It means I met with Gregory. We discussed strategies. We implemented some of them. What strategies? That's between me and my attorney. Dad? Melissa's voice changed, harder. You can't just... We need to know. This affects us. Why? Because we're family. Are we? Brett stepped forward. What the hell is that supposed to mean? It means I've been thinking. About timing. About coincidences. About how Susan died 8 days ago. About how you all suddenly care after 12 years of nothing. Melissa's face went pale. Dad, you're not thinking clearly. You're grieving. You're paranoid. This isn't healthy. Maybe not, but it's interesting, isn't it? Susan dies 28 days before her 60th birthday. You all show up. Want to talk about estate planning. Want to help. Want to know what I'm doing with Gregory. Brett's hands clenched. Are you accusing us of something? Should I be? This is insane. Then leave. They stared at me. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Melissa said quietly, Dad, you're not well. You need help. We're going to make sure you get help. Get out of my house. Dad. Now. They left. Brett slammed the door. I watched through the window as they sat in the car, talking, animated. Melissa was on her phone, calling someone. 20 minutes later, Derek came home, looked worried. Dad, Melissa called. She said you kicked them out? I asked them to leave. Why? Because they're not here for me. They're here for $8 million. Dad, that's not... Derek, I know about the cameras. His face went white. What? I pointed to the picture frame. That one, and the one in my study, and the bedroom, and the kitchen. Family Cam Pro, streaming to your phone. He didn't deny it, just stood there. Why? I asked. We were worried. We wanted to make sure you were safe. Safe from what? From yourself. From making bad decisions. Decisions like protecting my assets from my children? Dad, you don't understand. I understand that you've been watching me, recording me, reporting back to Brett and Melissa. I understand that Susan is dead, and suddenly you all care. I understand that there's a clause in my father's will tied to her 60th birthday. I understand math, Derek. 2.7 million per child. That's what you're waiting for. He backed toward the door. You're wrong. You're so wrong. Then prove it. Stay. Talk to me. Explain why you need to surveil your own father. He shook his head, grabbed his duffel bag from the guest room, left without another word. I stood in the empty house, looked at the cameras, knew they were still recording, knew that somewhere my children were watching, and I said out loud, I know what you're planning, and you're going to fail. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Just 3 words. Be careful, Dad. Then another text, another unknown number. Accidents happen. I forwarded both to Gregory. He called immediately. Nathan, that's conspiracy. That's witness intimidation. That's enough for me to call Detective Morrison. Do it. 26 days left. The clock was ticking, and now they knew I was fighting back, which meant they were going to move faster. Sunday. Mother's Day, ironically. Susan and I used to spend Mother's Day planting flowers in the backyard. She loved peonies, pink ones. I planted them alone this year, or pretended to. The cameras were gone. Derek had taken them when he left. But I assumed there were others. Assumed they'd found a way to keep watching. I wasn't wrong. Monday morning, Gregory called. We have a problem. What? Derek's search history. Susan's been monitoring his laptop. He leaves it at your house sometimes connected to your Wi-Fi. She accessed it remotely. Nathan, he Googled how to hire a hitman on April 28th, 11:35 p.m. My stomach dropped. He what? There's more. He searched untraceable poison, home invasion statistics Boston, how to make a death look like an accident. Jesus Christ. It gets worse. Melissa, she forged a power of attorney document, for you, dated March 22nd. I didn't sign any. I know, that's the point. It's a fake. The notary signature is from Linda Huang, Notary Public. We checked. No such person registered in Massachusetts. Melissa created a fake notary, fake document, giving herself medical power of attorney over you. Why would she? Think about it. If you become incapacitated, if you're rushed to the hospital unconscious, who makes medical decisions? Whoever has power of attorney. And attached to that POA is a medical directive. Pre-filled DNR. Do not resuscitate. I sat down, hard. She's planning to drug me, put me in the hospital, then sign off on letting me die. That's the working theory, and Dr. Hayes has already prepared a prescription. Propofol, 200 milligrams, enough to cause respiratory arrest. We found the prescription request in his system. Susan's friend Evelyn accessed it. Hayes hasn't filled it yet, but it's ready. How long do I have? 18 days until Susan's birthday. But Nathan, they know you're setting up defenses. They know about the trust. They're going to accelerate. Could be this week. Could be tonight. What do I do? We need them to commit, to act. We need them on tape planning the actual murder. I'm calling Detective Morrison. We're getting a wiretap warrant, but you need to bait them. You need to get them all in a room and make them think you're giving up. How? Call a family meeting. Tell them you've been thinking, that you were wrong, that you want to make things right. Tell them you're going to update your will, divide everything equally, make them believe they've won. And record them confessing? Exactly. Wednesday, May 8th. Gregory and Detective Sarah Morrison met me at a Starbucks in Cambridge, neutral ground. Morrison was 42, sharp eyes, no nonsense. She said, "Mr. Cooper, I've been investigating elder financial abuse for 12 years. This case is textbook, but we need more evidence. We need them to explicitly plan your murder on recording. Can you do that?" What do I have to do? Invite them over, Friday night. Tell them you want to discuss the estate. Act defeated. Weak. Tell them you realize you were paranoid, that grief made you irrational. Tell them you want to make a new will, splitting everything 3 ways. They'll be suspicious. Let them be. Suspicious people talk more. They'll try to confirm you're serious. They'll slip. They'll mention dates, deadlines, and we'll have 8 microphones in your house recording every word. 8? We're not taking chances. The wiretap warrant was approved this morning by Judge Helen Crawford, U.S. District Court, District of Massachusetts. We have legal authority. I nodded. Okay, I'll call them. One more thing, we think Melissa's planning to move soon. She can't wait until June 8th. She knows that's too obvious. She'll want it to look random, sudden. So we're expecting movement in the next 10 days. Stay alert. Don't eat or drink anything you don't prepare yourself. Check your medications, and for God's sake, don't go anywhere alone with any of them. I called Brett that afternoon. Hey, can we talk? About what? About the other day. I overreacted. I'm sorry. Can you, Melissa, and Derek come over Friday, 6 p.m.? Long pause. What for? I want to fix this. I want to make things right. Are you serious? I'm tired, Brett. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being alone. I miss your mother. I miss my kids. Can we just talk? Another pause. Okay, Friday, 6 p.m. Friday, May 10th. Detective Morrison's team arrived at 4 p.m. Installed microphones, living room, kitchen, hallway, even the bathroom. Tiny, professional, invisible. Morrison said, "We'll be in a van 2 blocks away. If anything goes wrong, you say the code word, Dorothy. That's your mother's name. Say it, and we come in immediately. Got it. And Nathan, be careful. You're asking people who want you dead to sit across from you and confess. This is dangerous." I know. 6 p.m. The doorbell rang. Brett, Melissa, Derek, all 3. They came in slowly, cautiously, like they were expecting a trap. We sat in the living room, same seats as before. Me in the armchair, them on the couch. I started. "I'm sorry." Melissa blinked. "What?" "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was paranoid. Grief made me crazy. You're my kids. You were trying to help and I accused you of terrible things." Brett leaned forward. "Dad, it's okay. We understand. No, it's not okay. I've been thinking. A lot. And I realize I'm getting older. I'm 62. Susan's gone. I need to make sure you're taken care of. That Emma and Noah are taken care of. Derek said, "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to update my will. I want to split everything equally. Between the three of you. Gregory's going to draft it next week." Melissa's eyes lit up, just for a second. Then she controlled it. "Dad, are you sure?" "I'm sure. It's the right thing. I should have done it years ago." "What about the trust?" Brett asked. "I'm going to dissolve it. Put everything back into my personal estate. Make it simple." "When?" "Next week. Gregory said it'll take a few days." Brett and Melissa exchanged a glance. Derek shifted in his seat. That's really generous, Dad," Melissa said. "It's fair? So everything would be split 3 ways? The house, the properties, the investments? Everything. And this would be done before June 8th? There it was, the date, said out loud, on recording. "Should be," I said. "Why June 8th?" "No reason, just making sure there's no rush. You should take your time. Make sure it's what you want." "It is." "Good." Melissa smiled, relaxed. "Good. I'm glad we worked this out." They stayed for an hour, made small talk, acted like a family again. When they left, Melissa hugged me at the door, whispered, "I love you, Dad." I said, "Love you too." The door closed. I stood there for a moment. Then I walked into the kitchen, poured a glass of water. Morrison called 10 minutes later. "We got it." "Got what?" "After they left your house, they drove 3 blocks, parked, had a conversation in Brett's car. We were following. We recorded it. Melissa said, and I quote, 'Good. Before June 8th is the deadline. We move next week. I'll confirm with Hayes. Derek, you keep monitoring Dad. Brett, you set up the home invasion scenario." "Home invasion?" "Apparently that's their cover story. Make it look like a robbery gone wrong." I sat down, put my head in my hands. "Nathan, we have enough for arrest warrants, but I want to catch them in the act. I want the attempted murder charge. Can you handle one more meeting?" "What kind of meeting?" "The one where they try to kill you." Morrison's plan was simple and terrifying. "You're going to fake a collapse," she said. "Saturday night, late. Derek will call Dr. Hayes. Hayes will come to your house. We'll be there. We'll catch them in the act. Arrest Hayes with the propofol. Get him to flip on Melissa and Brett. Then we sweep them all up at once." "What if Hayes doesn't come?" "He'll come. He's already complicit in Susan's fake death. He's been paid $200,000. We traced it. Melissa transferred it from an LLC she set up. Melissa Cooper LLC, deposited into Hayes' account at Eastern Bank, April 20th. Plus, she deeded him a rental property, 67 Park Avenue, Brookline, $385,000 value, transferred April 22nd. She paid him $600,000 total? Give or take. That's how much your life is worth to her. Saturday, May 12th, 10:30 p.m. I was supposed to collapse. Morrison coached me. "Make it believable. Fall. Don't catch yourself too gracefully. Call out. Derek will hear, he'll come running, and the first thing he'll do before calling 911 is call someone. We're betting it's Hayes. What if he calls 911 first? Then we have a real ambulance come, and you're miraculously fine when they arrive. But we don't think he will. We think he's been coached. Melissa's smart. She told him, if Dad collapses, call Hayes immediately. Hayes will handle it. 10:28 p.m. I stood in my kitchen, took a breath, thought about Susan, about my father, about 35 years teaching kids that character matters. Then I fell, hit the floor hard, knocked over a chair, yelled, "Derek, Derek, help!" I heard his door open, footsteps running. "Dad? Dad?" He burst into the kitchen, saw me on the floor, pulled out his phone, but he didn't call 911. He called someone else. I was lying there, eyes half closed, listening. "It's happening," Derek said. "Dad just collapsed. Yeah, right now, 10:30. I don't know, he just fell. He's breathing, but he's not responsive. Okay. You're coming? How long? 10 minutes? Okay." He hung up, knelt next to me. "Dad, can you hear me? Dad?" I groaned, kept my eyes mostly closed. "Hang on. Dr. Hayes is coming. He'll take care of you." 8 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Derek answered. I heard voices, then footsteps. Dr. Richard Hayes walked into the kitchen, carrying his medical bag. He looked at me, then at Derek. "You did the right thing, calling me first. Is he going to be okay?" "I'll take care of him. Go to your room. Let me work." "Shouldn't we call an ambulance?" "Not yet. Let me stabilize him first." Derek hesitated, then left. Hayes knelt next to me, opened his bag, pulled out a syringe. I saw it. Propofol, clear liquid, 200 milligrams. He was actually going to do it. He grabbed my arm, found a vein, positioned the needle. The front door burst open. "FBI, hands in the air!" Hayes dropped the syringe. It clattered on the floor. Morrison and 4 other agents rushed in, guns drawn. Hayes tried to stand, but they tackled him, cuffed him. "Richard Hayes, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and elder abuse. You have the right to remain silent." Hayes was screaming. "I didn't have a choice. She made me. She blackmailed me." "Who?" "Melissa. She found out about the malpractice case. Eleanor Patterson, 2012. I missed the sepsis diagnosis. The patient died. Melissa said she'd report me to the medical board if I didn't help. I could lose my license." "So you decided to kill someone instead?" "I didn't want to. I've been recording her. I have proof. She forced me." Morrison looked at me. "You okay?" I sat up, shaking. "Yeah, I'm okay." "Good, because we've got 3 more arrests to make tonight." 11:15 p.m. Derek walked back into the kitchen, saw the agents, saw Hayes in handcuffs, tried to run. They grabbed him, found his phone, read his text history. 10:51 p.m. Derek had texted Brett and Melissa. "Dad down. Hayes there. It's done." Morrison read it out loud. "Consciousness of guilt. You just confessed to conspiracy." She called for backup. 2 cars, lights off. They went to Brett's house, to Melissa's apartment. By midnight, all 3 of my children were in custody. And I sat in my kitchen, staring at the syringe on the floor, thinking, this is real. They really tried to kill me. Melissa's apartment was small. 2nd floor, Quincy. Emma and Noah were with their father that weekend. Good. They didn't need to see this. Morrison knocked at 11:40 p.m. "Melissa Cooper, FBI. Open the door." Silence. "We have a warrant. Open the door, or we break it down." The door opened. Melissa stood there in pajamas. Makeup off, hair in a ponytail. She looked younger, vulnerable, like the daughter I remembered. "What's going on?" "You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, elder abuse, fraud, forgery, and attempted murder." "What? That's insane. I haven't—" "Derek texted you 40 minutes ago. Dad down, Hayes there, it's done." You replied, "Good. I'll handle the estate paperwork tomorrow." We have the texts. We have recordings of you planning this with Dr. Hayes. We have the forged power of attorney. We have bank records showing you paid Hayes $600,000. We have everything, Melissa. She stared. Then, "I want a lawyer." "Smart. You're going to need a good one." They cuffed her, read her rights, walked her out to the car. Neighbors watched from windows, phones recording. Brett fought. When agents arrived at his house in Newton at 11:50, he saw them coming, tried to lock the door, grabbed a golf club, shouted, "Get out of my house!" "Brett Cooper, FBI, you're under arrest." "For what?" "Conspiracy to commit murder. Your father." "Ring a bell?" "I didn't do anything. I was just helping plan—" He stopped. Realized what he'd said. "Helping plan what?" "Nothing. I need a lawyer." "Yeah, you do." He swung the golf club. Missed. They tackled him, cuffed him. He was screaming the whole way to the car. "It was Melissa. It was her idea. I just went along. I didn't have a choice. She said if I didn't help, she'd—" "Save it for your lawyer." By 2 a.m., all 3 were in holding cells at the Boston field office. Morrison sat me down in a conference room, brought me coffee. "You did good tonight," she said. "I feel sick." "That's normal. They're my kids. They tried to kill you." "I know, but they're still my kids." She didn't argue, just said, "We need you to come to arraignment on Monday. Can you do that?" "Yes. Monday, May 14th, Suffolk County Superior Court, Judge Marcus Williams presiding. I sat in the gallery, watched as they brought in my children, orange jumpsuits, shackles. They looked small, scared. The prosecutor read charges: conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, elder abuse, fraud, forgery, illegal surveillance, bail hearing. The prosecutor argued these defendants conspired to murder their father for financial gain. They have significant resources once they access the estate and clear motive to flee. The Commonwealth requests remand without bail. Defense attorneys argued, said their clients had ties to the community, no prior records. Flight risk was minimal. Judge Williams looked at the evidence, the texts, the recordings, the forged documents, the payment to Dr. Hayes. He said, bail denied, defendants remanded to custody pending trial. Melissa looked at me from across the courtroom, mouthed something, I couldn't tell what. I'm sorry? I love you? I hate you? Maybe all three. After the hearing, Morrison pulled me aside. There's something else. What? Dr. Hayes flipped. He's cooperating, gave us everything, and he told us something about Melissa. What? 4 years ago, she took care of your mother, Dorothy Cooper. Your mom died June 15th, fell down the stairs. Do you remember? Of course. Melissa found her, called 911. She was devastated. Nathan, Hayes told us Melissa asked him how to cause a heart attack that looked natural. This was 4 years ago. He told her, potassium chloride, overdose. Looks like cardiac arrest. My blood went cold. No. Your mother's death certificate says accidental fall, but the mechanism of death was cardiac arrest. We're requesting an exhumation order. We need to test for potassium chloride. I think Melissa's been planning this for a long time, and I think your mother was her first victim. June 2nd, Suffolk County Medical Examiner, Dr. Alan Kim performed the autopsy. Tissue samples, toxicology. June 15th, the report came back. Potassium chloride, 850 milligrams. Lethal dose is anything over 500. Dorothy Cooper didn't fall down the stairs and die of a heart attack. She was murdered, injected with potassium, then pushed. And Melissa had inherited $125,000 from Grandma Dorothy. Spent it all in 3 months. July through September, 4 years ago. Citizens Bank records showed withdrawals totaling $123,000. I remembered that time. Melissa had said she was treating herself, coping with grief, buying things, traveling. I thought she was processing trauma. She was spending blood money, new charges filed. June 16th, murder in the first degree, Commonwealth versus Melissa Cooper. Premeditated, financial motive, prior bad acts. If convicted, 25 years to life. I sat in Gregory's office, stared at the wall. She killed my mother. Yes. And she was going to kill me. Yes. And Susan. She tried. Gregory, how did I not see this? Because you're a good man, Nathan. Good people can't imagine evil, especially not in their own vemipae. What do I do now? You heal, you rebuild, and you make sure this never happens to anyone else. I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak. Because I'd spent 62 years believing that love conquered all, that family was sacred, that children, no matter how far they strayed, would always come back. I was wrong. Some people can't be saved. Some people choose money over morality, over family, over everything. And the hardest lesson I ever learned was this: sometimes love isn't enough. May 18th, back in court. Civil hearing this time, estate matters. Gregory presented the living trust to Judge Williams, the Cooper Family Trust 2024, filed May 2nd, recorded May 3rd, Norfolk County Registry of Deeds, Book 58392, page 156, $6.5 million in assets, transferred before Susan's death, before the arrests, before everything. The prosecution, now representing my children's interests, argued, Your Honor, this trust was created under duress. Mr. Cooper established it after his wife died, while under emotional distress. We moved to void the trust and enforce the original will. Gregory stood. Your Honor, the trust was filed May 2nd. Mrs. Cooper died May 11th, 9 days before. There was no duress. We have meeting notes from April 25th showing planning began weeks earlier. This was careful, considered estate planning. The defense lawyer, but Mrs. Cooper's death was faked. The trust was created based on false pretenses. The trust was created to protect my client from being murdered by his own children, who are currently facing murder charges. I'd say that's reasonable planning. Judge Williams reviewed the documents. The trust appears valid, filed properly, executed with clear intent. Assets transferred legally. The original will only applies to assets in the probate estate, which is $1.7 million, split 3 ways, $566,000 per defendant. After legal fees? Correct. The defense attorney looked furious. Your Honor, this is a miscarriage of... Counselor, your clients tried to murder their father for money. They don't get to complain about not getting enough money. Trust stands. Brett, from the defendant table, stood up, shouted, This is bullshit! He tricked us! That money is ours! Grandpa wanted us to have it! Mr. Cooper, sit down. It's ours! Bailiff, remove him! They dragged Brett out. He was screaming the whole way. Melissa sat silent, staring at the table. Derek just looked at me, like he was trying to understand how we got here. Gregory leaned over, whispered, One more thing. What? He stood. Your Honor, there's an additional matter. We're requesting exhumation of Dorothy Cooper. Nathan Cooper's mother died 4 years ago. New evidence suggests foul play. The prosecutor. On what basis? On the basis that Dr. Richard Hayes has testified that Melissa Cooper asked him how to cause an undetectable heart attack, and Dorothy Cooper died of cardiac arrest after a fall. We believe potassium chloride was involved. Judge Williams. Motion granted. Exhumation order issued. June 15th. The results. I already told you. 850 milligrams of potassium chloride. July 1st. Melissa was formally charged with murder in the first degree for Dorothy Cooper's death. The trial is set for next year. But the evidence is overwhelming. The DA says it's a slam dunk. Melissa will spend the rest of her life in prison. Brett got 15 years. Plea deal. Conspiracy to commit murder. Assault on a federal officer. He swung that golf club. He'll be out when he's 52. Derek got 8 years. Also plea deal. He cooperated. Gave testimony against Melissa and Brett. He'll be out at 37. Dr. Hayes got 12 years. Plea deal. Medical license permanently revoked. He testified against all 3. And me? I sat in that courtroom and realized something. 4 years ago, when Melissa found my mother at the bottom of the stairs, she'd cried. She'd held me. She'd said, I'm so sorry, Daddy. I tried to save her. Oscar worthy, she'd looked me in the eye and lied. For 4 years. And I never suspected, never questioned, never looked close enough. Because I loved her. And love makes you blind. But not anymore. I thought I'd lost 3 children. But the truth is, I never had them. I raised 3 strangers. Gave them everything except the one thing I couldn't give. Character. And character, I've learned, can't be taught. It can only be chosen. They chose money. I chose to survive. 6 months later, Vermont, 1834 Mountain View Road, Stowe. Population 5,000. Mountains, forests, silence. Susan and I bought the house with money from the trust, $485,000, 3 bedrooms, fireplace, 15 acres, off-grid, private, safe. We planted a tree on June 8th, Susan's 60th birthday, a pink peony tree, for my mother, for Dorothy. Susan's doing well, she writes now, working on a memoir, about marriage, about trust, about what it means to survive people who should protect you. I don't teach anymore, but I'm still teaching, in a way. November 3rd, we launched the Dorothy Cooper Foundation for Elder Abuse Awareness. EIN 834529-106. Mission: educate families about estate planning. Help people recognize warning signs of financial elder abuse. Provide resources for victims. We're funded by the rental income from the 3 properties still in the trust. $98,400 per year. In 6 months, we've reached 1,200 families. It's not much, but it's something. Emma and Noah, Melissa's kids, they're with their father now, full custody. I send cards every 6 months, birthday cards, Christmas cards. I keep them in a safe deposit box, unopened, waiting. When Emma turns 18, if she wants to know the truth, I'll be here. If she wants a relationship, I'll consider it. But I won't have a relationship with Melissa, not ever. I wrote one letter to all 3 of them, sent through their attorneys, said, I loved you, I still do, but love doesn't mean accepting abuse. You chose money over integrity. I choose boundaries over enabling. When you're released, if you seek genuine redemption, not reconciliation, but redemption, we can talk. But I will never be your ATM, your safety net, your victim again. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. Melissa wrote back, once, said I was a terrible father, said I never understood her, said I'd regret this. I burned that letter. Brett and Derek haven't written. I don't expect them to. Susan and I sit on the porch most evenings, watch the sun set over the mountains, drink coffee, don't talk much, don't need to. Last week she said, do you regret having them? No, I regret not seeing them clearly sooner. Think they'll change? I don't know. Maybe Derek, maybe in 10 years, but Melissa? I shook my head. Murder doesn't get a redemption arc. And Brett? Brett follows whoever's strongest. Right now, that's himself. We'll see. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't let fear of losing family make you lose yourself. Hit subscribe for more, and comment below. Tell me your city. I want to know where this message is reaching. Remember, family isn't just blood. Family is who stays when everything collapses. Susan and I are here, in Vermont, planting trees, finding peace, and that's enough. Because boundaries aren't selfish. Boundaries are survival.